Hey, friends! Welcome to the Knights of Prospect here on 2MB Studios. We are a fully improvised role-playing game live play, and so happy to have you here joining us. My name is Whitney Hawkins, aka Hazel Pippet, your lovable halfling mountain druid. And playing with me here today, we have Sam Hoare, aka Chauncey the Child Wizard.
Hello.
Kaylee Kane as Vil the Ranger, the best shot in the Riverlands. We have John Serpico, our faithful game master. And we are joined today by a very special guest. We have Bridget Copes playing Radish the Ranger. We are very excited to adventure with you all today. So why don't you take us away, Game Master?
All right, everybody. We are going to start very, very far from Tower Town, where most of you are, in the elven enclave of Imlan, which is where Radish currently is, and is Vil's hometown. Radish, you are currently in your woodworking shop, making something incredibly intricate and ornate. What is that?
Oh, it's a frame for the oldest painting in the entire town.
Yeah, so this is kind of a commission work from Lindir, the town elder of this elven enclave. And you're really kind of putting your heart and soul into this one. So let's actually see how you do with it. Let's roll your dexterity here. 10 plus, full success.
7.
Partial success, still pretty good. The issue is you're making this incredibly beautiful, ornate frame for this very large picture that is, at this point, thousands of years old. The issue is it's just taking you a lot of time. You're really focusing on the fineries. It's almost like in your own way you want to match the kind of the exquisiteness of the original painting. What is that painting of, by the way?
Oh, that painting is of the land where the enclave is, but before any of our ancestors had settled there. So it's just trees, but it's not just trees, because this painting captures the essence of the trees when we found them.
Yeah, this is in essence kind of the historical record of the town. This is the kind of the woods of Imlan as they were before the compact between the elves and the woods. And so this is a big deal, and you want to get it right. And currently, your swan Goosen is just kind of sitting there, wings folded, just watching you work, being deliberately unobtrusive, since you are working with tools so small that you feel like even the flap of a wings may move your grasp. Mm-hmm. So as you're working on it, the door of your kind of small, beautiful workshop opens, and a young woman enters, young because she is human. So for you, just a child, but you're tough with human years. She's somewhere between like 15 and 30. And she walks in. Excuse me, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Hello, friend. How can I help you?
Oh, you're Radish, right?
I am, yes. Welcome to my studio.
Shop. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Rose, and, I have a bit of a strange favor to ask you.
What is the favor?
Okay. She's dressed for the road in kind of fine but durable clothes. She's kind of weighed down with kind of pouches and bags. And, she kind of pulls a satchel off her shoulder and kind of lays it down on the table. Not your work table, because that would have been a disaster, but on like a table in the middle of the workshop. And she kind of unwraps it. And what you're looking at is a staff, like a walking stick you made about 20 years ago for someone named Grawl. And the top of it is this sphere. It's this red, kind of red and black sphere. And you remember from 20 years ago, someone named Grawl came, another human, and said essentially he wanted you to design like a walking stick around this sphere, which is a family heirloom. And now this other person that's not Grawl has it. And she kind of points to it and says, if I may be so bold, the sense I get from your face is that you know what this is.
I do know what this is. I made this staff. This is a soul stone.
Yes, it certainly is. And, well, you made this for my father. And my father used it as a walking stick. But I am not my father. And I want to use it for its true and intended purpose, which is to capture souls. And well, I spoke to a number of people in my part of the world at a place called the Arcanostrum, and the people at the Arcanostrum said that in order for this to be used for its kind of full and complete purpose, I essentially need the permission of the person that made it. It's almost, according to them, and I get it, according to them, it is locked. It is locked until, with your blessing, you unlock it that I may use it for its purpose.
You understand I just made the staff, not the soul stone.
Yes, but by joining them together, you've made something of a relic, and so it operates as a single thing. I need you to roll your wisdom, please. I'm going to give you a +1 as well.
12.
Okay. This was a discern realities check. 20 years ago, when you made this staff originally for Grawl, this woman's father, you did so not necessarily apprehensively, but very cautiously, because, in essence, this person was asking you to put what could be an incredibly powerful magical item into a walking stick. And so you really kind of gave her father the third degree. And so kind of you had kind of goosebumps already when you saw this thing again. And so this is unnerving to you. And the sense you get from Rose is that she is hiding something, or something seems amiss. And because you rolled a full success, you can ask me 3 questions that I will answer truthfully, as essentially you kind of, through discussion, work out what this is really about.
What here is not what it appears to be?
Rose. Rose certainly looks the part of a kind of young traveler, the daughter of wealth. But it is very clear, based on like the terminology she's using and things like that, that she didn't necessarily go to a conclave of wizards and ask for their help. It's very clear that she did this research herself. And the sense you get is she's probably a wizard.
What is about to happen?
She is going to make you bless it, or she is going to kill you.
What here is useful?
Probably the trapdoor that would let you escape your workshop.
I look over at Goosen, and Goosen is edging over toward that trapdoor, so certainly considering that.
Everything that the two of you are talking about are in very, very cordial tones, but you can feel the pressure in the room increasing. And so after several minutes of you asking probing questions very delicately, eventually she kind of puts both hands on the table, and the table kind of shakes a little bit when she does. So, what's it going to be? Is this a blessing you can put on this relic of yours, or is it not?
It is. But I need to know what soul is going in that stone.
The biggest one I can find.
A dragon soul.
Mm-hmm.
When your father came to my shop, he was talking about a dragon soul, and I thought that he just was trying to explain the power of this soul stone, and he knows how comfortable I was with the idea of my work being used in that manner for something that could so easily be misused.
Oh. My father was a man of his word. He didn't use this for anything other than an attention-getting party bauble, something that he could discuss with his friends that would impress people at the clubs of Catavia. I am not him.
Your father was trusted here. I'm getting the sense you would not be. I'm not blessing this stone and this staff for you.
Okay, here's what's going to happen. Well, one last thing. She takes a step back, and as she does, all of the kind of the clothes, the heavy traveling wools and the big packs and stuff, those all fade away. They were some kind of image or mirage. And she is wearing kind of these gold and crimson robes of a master wizard. In my research, she says, raising her hands, and lightning begins crackling through her fingers, there are two ways to unlock the true power of a relic like this. Getting a blessing from its creator, or killing its creator. So it's all the same to me. And she begins throwing lightning. So what do you do?
Oh, I loosen the Goosen.
Sure. So how is this going to work? What do you want do you want the goose to attack? Do you want the goose to distract? How's it going to go?
Oh, Goosen's going to distract.
Oh, right.
It's
so
a small space, and those wings can create a lot of chaos.
That they can. So what Goosen, the swan, is going to do is just take up a lot of space and get big, which is going to give you a little bit of cover for your next action. What do you want that action to be?
I'm going to take some of the tools that I've just been working with on this frame and throw them right at her.
Got it. Okay, so this is going to be a volley attack. You're going to get +1 from Goosen making a great big pink and white show of fluttering wings and all of that stuff.
3.
All right. So you begin whipping these ancient master-crafted tools at Rose. A couple kind of bounce off of her. One of them, you're an exceptional shot, and you kind of aim one right at her eye. And she kind of raises a hand, and it disintegrates as it's in the air. She then hits you with a bolt of lightning for 8 damage. Massive crackling arc of lightning, loud kind of bursting explosion. This hits you square in the chest with pain you haven't felt in 100 years. At around this moment, there is a great commotion outside that begins. It doesn't necessarily begin. It has been going on for some time, apparently. But you become aware of it when the western wall of your workshop is blown off with a fireball. Melian, the town elder, kind of sails into your workshop through this open western wall and crashes out the other side. Radish, there's some kind of invasion! Okay, what do you do?
I get up and I run after Melian.
Sure. So you get up. Goosen kind of starts following you. As you're leaving, you grab a couple of things. Another bolt of lightning blows the roof off of your workshop, and you kind of sprint outside towards Melian. What you see is absolute chaos. just because you're a ranger and an elf and you're able to kind of process these things quickly, you see that there are probably a dozen heavily armed mercenaries, all wearing these little kind of crimson and gold sigils like Rose's robes, that are in essence trying to burn down the town. So, Melian kind of stands up as you get to him, and he kind of raises his hands towards the sky, and a kind of a storm rolls in and starts buffeting the people on the ground with heavy winds and rain. You see your other dear friend Lindir. I'm sorry. You see Lindir. Well, Lindir and Melian are both town elders, and they're both kind of fighting. You're near Melian right now, and Lindir is kind of throwing magic and trying to fight off essentially a 12-person invasion. So you're near Melian. Melian's bleeding pretty badly, and he kind of stands up and he says, "I think they're after you."
Oh, they're after me, Melian. I think that I enraged them.
What did you do?
Do you remember the Soul Stone that Grawl brought 20 years ago?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, they brought the staff back and asked me to bless it so this girl named Rose can put a soul in it, and I said no, and now there's lightning everywhere.
Yeah. Things are getting fairly crazy. Rose has destroyed your workshop and is kind of leaps into the sky with a 20-foot leap and lands in front of you and Melian. Melian stops trying to call storms and pulls out his boar spear, which is just this kind of big, long glaive with a crossbar in it. Well, if they want you, they can't have you. Get out of here. Go. Get out of here. Come on.
Leave. I get my bow and my arrows out, and I string as many as I can, because I'm not leaving here without at least putting up a fight myself.
Sure. I want you to, you can probably hit 4 people from here. So presumably it'll be Rose and 3 other people. So I want you to roll your volley.
Three.
Okay. You kind of draw your bow and just start knocking and firing arrows with impossible speed. 2 of the armored mercenaries get hit square in the chest and drop. One kind of ricochets off his helmet, and he kind of rolls before he picks up a torch and throws it into a building. You hit Rose, or rather you try to. The arrow stops about 2 feet away, and she kind of swats it away with her hand. At this point, she hits you with lightning, and everything goes black. All right. In Tower Town, Chauncey, Hazel, and Vil, you are currently at the Elkcrest farmhouse, working on a project. Hazel, you, now that you are new to Tower Town, have been given a room here as a druid from the mountains. You are a very respected guest of the Elkcrest farmhouse.
It's real pretty.
It's perfect. It's this big rambling building, like a barn the size of a large warehouse. And, you have like a room, but the concept of a room to you is kind of weird because you don't need to eat. You don't need to drink. You never get sick or cold. So it's really just a place for you to keep stuff, which you didn't even have that much stuff, but since you've been here, people have been giving you stuff.
Sure have.
So it's certainly nice. The caretaker of the Elkcrest farmhouse is certainly now a friend of yours. Her name is Wilma, and is a good friend of Vil's. And Chauncey's, apparently. These new friends of yours are much beloved here at the Elkcrest farmhouse. So the 3 of you...
It's not.
Yeah, it's true. So the 3 of you are working on some kind of project to better the farmhouse. So I want one of you to say what that project is, and the other two to talk about how you are accomplishing this project.
Oh yeah, we're painting a mural on the wall.
We sure are. We don't need to mention who damaged the wall with a misplaced magical spell, but somebody damaged the wall with a misplaced magical spell.
And it could have been anyone who is a super powerful wizard with the power of the elements at their disposal. They're probably super tall and great, but we don't. You're right, Phil. We don't have to say who.
Yeah,
who could say?
Could have been any young wizard in the Elk Crest farmhouse.
Anyone who saved a bunch of. Anyway, yeah, anyone.
It could have been anyone, but somebody slightly destroyed one of the walls of the Elk Crest farmhouse. So we have repaired the wall, and now we're painting a beautiful mural over it to hide that it's different from all the other walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we went out in the woods and we found a lot of berries and leaves and various grasses and muds to find all sorts of different pigments.
Yeah, and this is the kind of work, Hazel, that you have a remarkably good eye for.
Thank you.
And Wilma says the same. And in point of, she's drinking kind of a mug of tea from this big clay mug, and she says as much. You have a remarkably good eye for this, Hazel.
Thank you.
A marriage of the natural and the person made.
Hazel, can you remind me? I haven't seen too much of this animal that we're painting. What is this again? What mural is this? Weird thing.
Yeah, it's fine. This is a possum, and yeah, a possum with its family, as well as a black bear.
Possum and black. So black. Are they gonna eat each other, or
no?
Does the possum cast some kind of spell?
Black bears, they're not just constantly eating anything that they see. This one's not hungry. It's showing these animals living in peace until the black bear gets hungry, in which case it will eat them.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the work is proceeding, and a very beautiful mural that kind of accounts for the stakes and balance of nature is coming together. And around this moment, there is a loud thunderclap from inside the Elk Crest farmhouse. And since you're looking at a wall, it's behind you. You all instinctually turn around, and essentially what could best be described as a small black storm cloud is hovering directly over one of the big communal tables.
It's not me.
Did you do this?
It's not. No,
Chauncey.
I don't do much lightning. It's kind of scary.
It then explodes into like a burst of black smoke.
No.
And standing there on the table is Hazel and Chauncey, a kind of a white-haired elf wearing kind of resplendent robes, and unfortunately bleeding very badly, holding another elf who is unconscious in his arms. That's what you see.
Mess. We just cleaned up. Blood everywhere. Another mess on the table for Wilma to deal with.
Vil, this is what you see. Your old friend, the town patriarch of your hometown, Imlan, Lindir, holds your unconscious friend Radish and is now panicked and gaunt.
Who's bleeding? Lindir?
Yes, no, it's fine. Take care of Radish.
Are you okay?
Oh, Vil, it's good to see you. And he passes out.
No! I open my pack and I've got a bunch of salves and some patching leaves from the forest, and I start to take care of both of them.
I don't know what to do with my hand.
Chauncey, do something!
I cast Unseen Servant. I send out Chauncey to go press on the wounds. Feel like you told me I will apply pressure.
I call the water out of the air to give it to the elf that just passed out.
Perfect. So each of you are going to contribute +1 to Vil's roll. Vil, I want you to roll 2d6 plus wisdom +2 for the help you're getting to stabilize these people.
Oh, 11.
Thank goodness. This is very fraught, but is mercifully helped by lots and lots of magical support. Chauncey, you immediately summon a servant who is kind of like supporting the neck and applying pressure. Hazel, you are filling pitchers of water from the air and giving it. Vil, you're applying like balms and salves. Ultimately, after several minutes of incredibly feverish work, Lindir is stable but unconscious. Radish is covered in clearly very bad magical lightning burns, but you kind of have her mummified in leaves and various glops, and Radish ultimately comes to.
Vil has the best glops in all of the
They're
Riverlands.
so good.
Never
Quality
seen
glops.
better.
That's true. That's true. For burns, I skimmed some scum off the top of a bog behind the farmhouse.
Bill? Bill, is that... Bill, do I hear your voice?
Radish?
Bill?
Hello.
Bill, you
Hi.
came back. You came back. You came back.
No, you're at the Elkcrest farmhouse in Tower Town.
What?
Hey.
No.
Hey.
What? Where-
Hi. I'm Chauncey.
I'm Hazel.
I'm Chauncey.
I'm Hazel.
Lindir?
What?
Lindir is stable but comatose.
What happened? Why did...
There was an attack. I was in my shop and someone came in and Vil, the black ash that we got, you remember when we went and I made the soul stone, I made that staff for the soul stone. Someone came back with it.
You made a soul stone?
And I didn't make the soul stone. I made a staff
Oh.
for the
But
soul
you
stone.
You found
And-
black ash? That
Some-
only
Of
course
comes
I
from
found black
dead
ash.
trees.
Well, really, Vil found the black ash because Vil's better at that than I am, but I'm better at using it. It doesn't matter. Someone came back and she said that I needed to bless the soul stone and I wouldn't do it because I just don't believe in that, and it seemed nefarious. And then
They brought that rock back to the Enclave?
they brought it back to the Enclave, and I don't know if the Enclave's there anymore. There was lightning, and there were all of these humans, I think, and they were lighting everything on fire, and now I'm here.
There were humans in the Enclave? Where'd they all...
I think they were all with the girl who came to the shop. I guess when I wouldn't bless the soul stone, for some reason they decided to destroy
Where is
the
everybody
entire
else?
Enclave.
Where is...
I don't know. I blacked out.
Melvin and...
I don't know.
I hand Radish a glass of water.
I've got to wake Lindir up. Hold on. I take out a particularly potent mushroom paste, and I rub some of it under Lindir's nose.
My word.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's really
Oh.
it's a terrible smell. Lindir,
Yeah, it's truly awful.
It's
Lindir's
the worst
been
thing I
alive for
have.
probably 1,000 years, and this is one of the 3 worst things he's ever smelled.
yeah, it's the worst thing in my backpack, and I have it always.
So you kind of prop Lindir up.
Yeah.
Everyone in the Elkcrest farmhouse gives you plenty of space. Wilma kind of clears the main room.
I'm making a perimeter. I'm like, back off, everyone, back off. I just make my hands glow a little bit. I'm like, stay away.
Yeah, and so like there's kind of crackling bits of electricity in the air, and eventually people kind of back off. And so you have the whole interior of this farmhouse to yourselves, and Radish you kind of recount to Lindir what you just told everyone, and Lindir says, "Oh, all right, hold on, I could probably get us a little more information." Hazel, do you have more of that water?
Yeah, and I give him another mug.
Give him Lindir. Give water. Give Lindir water.
I gave him water, Bill. It's okay.
Thank you.
And Lindir
I understand.
Sorry,
pours
I
some
raised my
out.
voice.
He pours some out on the stone table, in one of the corners, and kind of waves his hand over it, and this little kind of thin pool of water kind of shimmers into glass all of a sudden. Chauncey, this is some real high level magic stuff. And he proceeds to kind of chant in kind of the elven magic language. And Chauncey, because you're very attuned to this kind of thing, it's like standing next to a dynamo or a generator or something. You feel just energy pulsing off of this guy.
Yowza!
And he proceeds to kind of paint within this like glass surface a picture of Imlan. What you see, all of you, is rather dire, but maybe not as dire as it could have been. There are a dozen or so very dead human mercenaries, kind of laying amongst the middle of the enclave of Imlan, around the big fountain, which is thankfully not damaged. But what is damaged is the hall of the Hall of History. Radish's shop is a pile of splinters, and one or two other buildings have apparently been burned.
No.
Melian, the other town elder that's there, has a pair of arrows in his chest, but he is kind of directing the cleanup effort. And Lindir kind of keeps moving his hand over the glass, and every time he does, kind of your view changes, and you kind of see all of the enclave of Imlan within the woods, and then you see all of the woods, and then you see kind of the road west out of the woods. And on that road, he kind of brings his hands down, and you see a woman in crimson and gold robes on a horse, riding hard towards Tower Town.
Whoa, she looks really good.
That's her. That's got to be her.
Who are these?
Rose.
Who do these mercenaries work for her?
I think they must. That means they're coming after me.
They're coming for you?
They're coming for me.
Do we get to fortify?
I was going to say that I was just going to run, but...
No.
I'm going to fortify her body full of arrows, I think is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, this is a great place for you to be if you're running from this really, really well-dressed lady.
Okay, then.
So what you know from all of this is that based on kind of Lindir's, scrying, you see that essentially her small kind of elite guard have been killed, but that has in no way deterred her from finding where you are and riding a hard path towards you. You essentially have, based on this horse, which, according to Lindir and looking at it, and Hazel, you kind of see it too. Actually, in point of fact, all of you do, because you're all either in tune with animals or magic. You don't think this horse is actually a horse. You think this is a spell that created a horse that does not tire. Because this thing is riding at a full gallop for countless hours.
I hate it.
Guys,
That's
I'm-
not natural.
Don't
Guys,
like
I'm gonna
it.
try to take the horse. If we can, let's get that horse.
It's not really a horse.
Chauncey,
What?
that's in poor taste.
Well, I mean, if we,
It's not a real horse.
That's not the focus of the day.
but it could be a boon, a bonus, a boon, bonus boon,
A
bonus.
bonus.
A bonus.
Could be
A bonus.
Let's call it a
Everybody,
bonus.
listen, we have
That's
to
his name.
focus.
Oh.
Lindsay,
Focus.
how long do we have?
Lindir is starting to get pale again. It's
Oh, dear.
the kind of the magics that he used to, create an effective cross-continental teleport, and then this scrying magic, while being badly hurt, is very, very taxing.
I give him
Where-
water
where's
and say,
Will-
now drink it this time.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. The last thing he says before Wilma is insistent that he rest is that essentially on this magical horse, Rose will probably be here in the next 24 hours. So essentially you kind of know the route, like the route kind of goes through the woods of the deep woods of Imlan, and then through like the reaches of Catavia to the north, and then head south. So she's going to cover essentially several hundred miles in a day, which is pretty magnificent and spectacular if it wasn't for so terrifying a reason.
Yeah, bonus is really fast.
So you essentially know when she's going to get here and know the route she's coming down on.
All right. Wilma, could you maybe keep an eye on my friend Lindir?
Of course, Phil. Of course. He'll be safe here.
Maybe some of your beef stew might be good.
It'll be the
When
first
he
thing he
wakes
tastes when
up?
he wakes up.
He's never had it before, I bet, and it's quite hearty.
It's really
Oh,
good.
It's
It'll-
the best in
beef
Tower
stew.
Town.
It'll cut through the smell of that mushroom paste, that's for sure.
Oh, should I leave some
You
for
could
him in
try.
case you've got to get his attention?
Please do not. Please do not.
Sorry about the smell. It lingers.
It does.
Smells like skunks in mating season.
Yeah.
Really?
I know you don't like big stinks in your farmhouse.
Well, I like them a little more, or at least I tolerate them a little more when they have the purpose of keeping one of your friends alive and
Yeah.
alert.
Pip, Phil, you guys know like the forest pretty good, right?
Yes.
I'd say so.
What do you think? If we're not gonna run, should we try to set something up out in the forest for the
Like a
wedding?
trap?
Should we or should we use the farmhouse if that's okay?
I think we should set a trap.
Yeah, where do you think?
The forest is always on our side, so
That could be
say we
great.
use that.
Pip can basically talk to like anything.
Yeah.
Trees,
And-
rocks. Like,
The trail in the southwest woods, the direction she's coming from.
Yeah, is that a good place for a trap? Is it like narrow? What is it? Can I hide in a tree and be like, "Haha, I'm Chauncey," and jump on top of Boonus the horse? Or
Ooh. Yeah, we can talk about the specifics. Maybe not yelling, "Hey, I'm Chauncey," before you attack.
so
Maybe,
I jump on the horse and go, "Hi, I'm Chauncey."
I think introduce yourself after the
After.
trap has been sprung.
Perfect. I will write that down so I remember.
Mhm.
Okay. So, you all essentially develop a plan that will that will come to pass as it happens.
Yeah.
So, essentially what I want each of you to do is I want you all to kind of decide on your approach. What are you personally going to do to kind of spring the trap on Rose, this wizard? I want you to then kind of pick the trait that best encapsulates your approach, roll it, and tell me the number.
Sure. I'm gonna ask the ground to create a schism, like a deep gorge, so that she has to go to where our trap is.
Awesome.
I'm going to, on our way, gather wood, and I'm going to craft arrows that are infused with my anger at her, that I will shoot at her when we finally find her.
A rare and incredibly difficult feat of woodworking. You're one of the few people alive that can do it.
8.
Thank you.
Guys, if we go into forest, you're gonna help me, right?
Yeah, sure.
Of course, we'll help you.
I don't like agreeing that quickly to something Chauncey brings up, but in this case, I think I'm here for that kind of chaos.
Okay. If you guys are gonna help me, then I'm gonna reach out, cast mimic. I'm mimicking myself to look like Radish,
Oh.
a very injured Radish,
That's smart.
Oh.
and I'm going to be just off the road, just behind the traps, pretending to be very injured.
That's smart.
That is a smart plan, Chauncey.
Yeah.
That's just perfect. Thank you.
And Vil, what do you want to do?
I'm going to be sitting in a tree to the north in front of where she'll be coming. And I'm going to try to put an arrow in her head that knocks her off her horse.
Okay. So, we see kind of a montage of all of this coming together. We see Radish, hunting for, these perfect bits of wood and, kind of fletching them into arrows and infusing into it her deep and abiding hatred of this woman and this staff and what she had done. Hazel, you are, we see you kind of surveying the ground and surveying the road and then holding your hand out and speaking to the earth.
Hey, Earth. I just need a favor real quick. There's a bad lady on the way. I just need a schism big enough to make her go out toward the woods. Can you do that for us? Oh, aren't you sweet? You can go back in just a little bit. We just need it for a while.
So cool.
Oh.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
a 4-foot pit in the road opens up. Chauncey, roll for mimic.
6.
I'm going to say it works, but it's going to work a little too well. You're not going to be able to change back.
Well, this is me now.
Oh.
You look good.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what that means is you are going to be in this form until such time as you're essentially it's like flexing a muscle, but you can't unflex it. It's almost like it's frozen into position now. So you're going to need someone's help in the future to get out of this form.
I walk up to Radish and I start trying to move my hand slowly up to see if Radish will copy me. Which one of us is you?
It's me.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
freaky.
cool. Pretty
Yes,
cool.
it is. And Radish, you've been kind of thoroughly healed before you all set off on this journey. But Chauncey looks exactly like you did a day ago. Just kind of bad kind of lightning burns kind of all around your shoulder. And yeah, so kind of all this is setting up, and then we see Vil, you're kind of set in a tree. You've got like a quiver of arrows hanging over one of the branches. Your duck, Hobie, is just kind of keeping an eye out, just absolutely kind of like stiff right through the wings and the feathers, just looking out at the road. And all of you are in position.
I'm so injured.
Riding hard on this horse is Rose. You hear the gallop, though it is very close. It sounds far away. One of the weird quirks of summoning a horse like this. She enters kind of the part of this woods where you're all kind of in perfect position with the trap ready to spring. As she rides, she sees the kind of this break open in the road, this like miniature canyon, and she kind of rides hard and stops. And she kind of the horse rears up, and she kind of waves her hand, and the horse vanishes.
Darn it. Bonus.
And she looks at the kind of this schism, and then looks up into the woods. Vil, you have your shot.
I'm crawling out from the side of the woods and looking at her fearfully to try to distract her.
Yeah, this is the moment. She, kind of her senses are up, and she starts looking around, and she's moving. Chauncey, I need you to roll 2d6. Plus, I'm going to say this is parlay. This is 2d6 plus your charisma. You're essentially acting.
Come on, acting levels 1 and 2. Oh, 3. I'm definitely Radish.
Yeah, she starts walking off the trail to exactly the spot, Vil, where you want that shot. She's kind of rounding the tree, and you're waiting.
Come on, Vil.
And then there's Chauncey kind of writhing on the ground, and she looks. Huh. Oh, so this is where it has to happen then, huh? She brings out her hand and kind of gets onto her knees and kind of presses her hands into the earth. Several black fissures immediately start crackling open. And jumping out of these kind of black fissures are 3 hellhounds. They are 3-headed dogs the size of small horses that are breathing fire. Fine. If this is how it has to be, this is how it has to be.
I let my spell go and go, I'm so sorry. I am just a young wizard in training. I ran into someone the other day who was very injured, and they said, they said there was a very powerful mage coming. I wonder if there's anything else anyone else is doing right now. But it's very nice
The problem is, Chauncey, you kind of try to release that muscle and fall back into yourself.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah,
You're stuck this way. And, she looks and she starts laughing. And
look at me, I'm funny.
She takes a step back and kind of waves her hand, and one of the hellhounds dives at you. So it's now time for combat. Vil, I'm going to say that you go first because you can still get this shot off. It's just going to be at a -1. She's not quite in the kill box where you wanted her to be.
Okay. I'm going to call to Hobie to swing and fly very close to one side of her to try and get her to stumble into a more clear shot that I can take.
All right. That'll get rid of the -1, so you're going to roll this straight away. Okay. Is this going to be your cold shot?
Yes.
All right. So this is going to be this is a 2d6 volley.
Mm-hmm.
Roll it.
11.
Okay. So because of the full and complete success, she is going to lose a turn, meaning everything you all do this round she will not be able to respond to, and she also takes damage. So I want you to roll your damage and then tell me how exactly this looks like.
Yep. All right. My shot is absolutely perfect. I feel it leave my hand, and I just know it's going to be good. But she has some sort of aura around her. She has an awareness of the air right in front of her. And just as it's coming towards her, she has just a slight second where she knows to turn her head to one side. And I graze her, but it's not the perfect shot that I was hoping for. It does only 3 damage.
Got it. So the way this is going to work out is, it all happens for you, Vil, in relatively slow motion, as
Yes.
things do when you line it up. And you know it's perfect, and you know that no human should be able to dodge a shot like this. But she instinctually does. And as she does, that aura kind of condenses around her. And, the arrow kind of hits her in the head and grazes her, and there's kind of this spray of blood right before she turns into an iron statue of herself.
What son of a badger!
Now, the advantage you all have is that everything you all do for the next round, she cannot possibly respond to. The disadvantage is that she has 5 armor. So any kind of damage you do is going to have 5 subtracted from it. So Chauncey, Hazel, and Radish, what do you want to do? You have a wizard that turned herself to iron, as well as 3 terrifying hellhounds.
Well, I don't like any of these dogs here. They don't belong here, and I don't want them near my friends. So I'm going to shapeshift into a big old mama bear.
Yep. Let's roll your 2d6 plus wisdom and tell me what you get.
That's 9.
All right. So you're going to be able to accomplish 3 actions as this mama bear. Let's describe to everybody what this looks like.
All right, so the forest floor with leaves and dirt kind of swells up around me, my little halfling form, and then with a big whoosh, it comes back down, and I am a big old grizzly bear with 2 little horns on top of my head, and I am pissed. So I'm just going to run up behind Chauncey / Radish and rear up on my back haunches and just roar at these dogs.
All right. That sounds pretty good. So you get up and, you fill 8-10 feet of space and, give this giant roar from the mountains that shakes the trees. You have 3 actions. Every time you use one for maul, it's an attack that automatically succeeds. You can use one right now if you choose to. D6 damage if you want.
Sure, I'm taking a big swipe at the closest one.
Go for it.
It's a 4.
So one of the hellhounds, the one that kind of is loping towards Chauncey and rears up, you kind of reach back with this giant kind of clawed bear claw and swipe it, and this thing goes flying into the woods and smashes against a tree. Radish or Chauncey, you're up next.
I take 3 of my arrows that are not my anger infused arrows, and I load them up to shoot one at each of the hellhounds. But before I do that, Goosen is going to fly to the left of one of them just to try to get in their eye and have them turn and not be looking out for the arrow.
It's very interesting, Hazel and Chauncey, to watch Vil and Radish, 2 elven rangers that have known each other for a century, work in tandem. Because essentially, like, Vil's in a tree, just like firing arrows with her animal companion darting and weaving through the targets. Radish kind of springs up out of the ground and does the exact same thing with her animal companion darting between the targets. And they're just moving in this choreographed ballet of arrow fire. So, Radish, I want you to roll your volley 3 times and tell me what you get each time.
Light 'em up, Radish.
6. 4. 8.
All right, so you start kind of putting fire down, and 2 of the wolves kind of, or the hounds kind of bank off. The one that Hazel sent flying into a tree is the one you have the clearest shot at. So you kind of reach back and fire. And as that thing slams into the tree, an arrow flies right through its middle, and it's now hanging there on the tree dead. One of the other two hounds does attack you, though, for 4 damage. So one kind of gets through your kind of volley of arrows and kind of fires a jet of flame out of its mouth that kind of catches your arm on fire. And by the time you put it out, you've been fairly hurt. Chauncey, you've got 2 hellhounds and you've got an ironclad wizard.
As I am stuck, I normally cannot do any magics at this time. I will
let you roll at I would let you roll at a -2.
Okay.
Or you could do something non-magic related. Dealer's choice.
Chauncey,
What?
your
Bill,
sword.
What?
Your sword, Chauncey.
It's just a regular sword. Is it enough to help?
You can do it. Do what I taught you. Do the move.
I start to open my cloak and look at my book and look at my friends and I
You
look at
don't
my
need
book and I close my cloak, take out my training sword, and charge at one of the hellhounds and wave it. And I try to light it to see if that helps for his hellhounds.
So this is a very, very interesting moment for you, Chauncey. You're in the woods, and the last time you were in the deep woods, you nearly died. You have with you this ancient book of magic that saved your life last time. But you decided in this moment that book and its secrets and what it does to you is not what is needed here. You're surrounded by friends and they're encouraging you. And so you put that away, you draw a sword and you charge.
I yell, "This is a smart choice!" and try to smack it on the head with my training sword.
I love it. You automatically succeed on the attack, do your damage.
Oh boy, I'm unfamiliar with swinging this sword and connecting with things.
1d4 damage, please.
All right.
Very rare thing where this training sword actually comes out.
Chauncey.
4.
Okay.
Hey,
So the wolf that just kind of fired a jet of flame at Radish, you are running as another Radish towards it and kind of jump and bring this kind of wooden training sword down on its back, and it kind of twists away and
I'm not even looking at the
away
dog. I'm just looking at Hazel and Phil's faces and waiting for them to hopefully smile at me.
I give a bear wink.
I am filled with confidence, and I take what I think is a good sword stance and face the hellhounds.
Bend your knees. Chauncey, bend your knees.
So, as kind of all of this is this is a moment of great personal triumph for Chauncey. But also in this moment, Rose brings down her iron skin and kind of returns to a fighting stance, and her hands are starting to glow and crackle with power again. As it stands, you have 1 injured hellhound, 1 uninjured hellhound, and a slightly injured but very angry Rose the Wizard. Vil, you're up.
I'm going to take another shot right at Rose. See if I can throw her off her game again.
Got it. Cold shot again?
Called shot right at the head. Hobie's going to swing down and distract her.
And Goosen's going with Hobie because Goosen knows what to do.
2 birds.
So I've got the 2 birds just trying to center her right in the middle, keep her from dodging as she feels the arrow coming.
Got it. All right. 2 of them working together. It's going to be 2d6 plus your volley, and I'll give you a +1 for that.
Okay. That's a 10.
Whew. Okay. Describe what happens and roll your damage.
I take a deep breath. I feel the shot. It's right down the middle. And with the 2 birds on either side, even if she felt it coming, they were coming too close to her. She could do nothing about it. And right as it connects, I do 7 damage.
Nice. So this one finds its mark. She can't do any of those tricks again.
Best shot in the Riverlands.
Best shot in the Riverlands. You fire, and an arrow kind of hits her square in the head. Kind of another spray of not only kind of like blood, but like crackling magical energy. Whatever kind of protective aura around herself was broken with that shot. She's alive. There's now blood kind of pouring down the middle of her face. She fires off, almost as a reflex, a swarm of magic missilesville that blows the top part of the tree off above your head, but doesn't hit you. And she's at this point, she's kind of staggering around. She's trying to track targets. Radish, you're up.
I pull out my anger-infused arrow, because this is the one I've been waiting to use. Mm-hmm. And I aim it at her, and I shoot.
2d6 plus your volley. If it hits, we'll talk about damage.
12.
My sword glows even brighter.
Normally, your longbow does 1d8 plus 1 damage. This arrow is going to do 2d8 plus 1 damage. So I want you to roll that and tell me what happens.
Another 12.
Radish wields her masterwork longbow, Dor Iwanor, that she herself crafted and infused with magic countless decades ago. There is no other longbow like this. It is hers, made for her by her. There is a song about this bow. The arrows that Radish used, that she poured her hate and revenge into. The spell, the binding spell that does this damage, was sealed with a phrase that you promised to Dor Iwanor and the spirits of Imlan and the pact with the forest. The phrase was the last thing that Rose was going to hear. What is the thing you said to that arrow?
From black ash to ash.
The very last words that Rose ever hears is your disembodied voice echoing in her head, filling her with terror she has never felt. The arrow finds its mark, and Rose dies. The hellhounds immediately burst into flames and then kind of seep back down into the earth. And you're all kind of there, kind of panting and waiting. Chauncey, you're holding your sword. Hazel, you are a giant bear. Vil, you and Radish look at each other, bows and arrows in hand.
What did your arrow say?
From black ash to ash.
Oh, I would have had it said, "Eat mud, human." But I like yours better.
Yeah, I'm a little too sentimental sometimes, but it worked out today.
I turned back into halfling form.
I sheathe my sword. And I take it back out. I take a rock and I notch one tally into it.
Hey, good.
That's just the beginning.
Good swinging, kid.
Thanks.
You taught him that?
Yeah, we've been working on it.
A week goes by. And we are in the elven enclave of Imlan. Melian, one of the 2 town elders, is overseeing the reconstruction efforts as elven craftsmen are, mounting new cornerstones for a new workshop for Radish. And repairing the hall of history. And there is a procession of horses coming up the main road. And Melion kind of walks forward and raises his hand. Lindir, the other town elder that you've all been riding with for the last week, kind of raises his hand in return. And Melion looks at Radish and Vil, Hazel, and Chauncey. And Melion sees you, Vil, and gives you a broad smile. Well, normally I would ask Lindir, my other elder, to introduce this group of people. But Vil, welcome home. Who is it you have with you here?
I'm handing Lindir a glass of water and looking at him very intimidatingly.
I've made some new friends. This is Chauncey.
I cast mirror image on myself to make a
No.
second shot.
That's not. It's not the kind. Okay. He's a young wizard, as
Pretty
you can
good.
see. Not bad. And Hazel, who is of the mountains.
Hi.
Welcome to the Enclave of Imlan. Radish, welcome home. I'd like to show you all something if you're up for it.
I love seeing things.
And
I'm doing a secret handshake with myself.
Of course, Melion. Thank you.
welcome home.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has. You seem to be doing well for yourself these days.
Yeah, better now.
You are led into the Hall of History, which is simultaneously to Hazel and Chauncey, both austere and the most magnificent building you've ever been inside. A place that is dripping with history, deep history, capital H history. There is a table that's being kind of hastily set up with food and drink and everything. And it is directly under a picture in an incomplete but still beautiful frame. We found it in the wreckage of your shop and we decided that it was perfect. No better way to tell the story of our town.
I thought
It
I
is
wasn't
perfect.
finished with that, but yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, it's a little bit of distance. There's nothing else it does need.
Maybe a possum.
Melion and Lindir kind of raise glasses. You all raise the same. Radish, what shall we drink to?
To Imlan, to homecomings, and to Chauncey learning to use a sword.
Cheers. And we will end it right there. So great work, adventurers. You not only saved a town elder and a dear old friend, but you also saved an elven enclave. So thank you, adventurers, and thank you, all you adventurers at home that are watching us. We have been Knights of Prospect. We are here at 2MB Studios every Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Please like us on Facebook at Knights of Prospect. Also, go to our YouTube channel. If you look up Knights of Prospect there, you will see all of our previous episodes. This was episode 14, so we've got 13 others that are already there. Also, be sure to like 2MB Studios at twitch.tv. There is great content up every single day of the week. Tell your friends indeed. From these prospective Knights of Prospect, we wish you all a very good night and happy adventuring. See you next week.
Bye.